just taking a quick look at Slack, at the Slack connector, and what some rough, I'm not going to be demonstrating really flows, just looking at the Slack connector and a brief overview of what we can do with it. So I've just pulled up a quick flow. I used the timer trigger to just pick some random trigger to trigger my my Slack flow. Slack does itself have one trigger, so between the two types of integrations that Connect has with different services, triggers and actions, Slack only has one trigger, and it's basically to take advantage of any. There's only one trigger in Connect, but it's to trigger any of the events that Slack can send. So if Slack can send an event, Claris Connect can capture it and trigger an action. And Slack has a really long list of events that can actuate a trigger. Looking down through the list, the most obvious one to me was the post message to a channel event. So you could have a Connect flow triggered by a message being posted to a Slack channel and create some kind of workflow off of it. So in my thinking as a FileMaker developer, that would let me have perhaps a trackable record created in a FileMaker app when a user posted to a Slack channel. Maybe it's a channel designed to track customer interactions, or maybe you've got a workflow in your business where whenever you post to a particular channel, you want to track it as a workflow in FileMaker. You could capture that with that post message to channel event. But there's probably 100 or more different events you can trigger a flow off of from Slack. If the triggering event is something in your FileMaker app or elsewhere in Claris Connect, once again, I'm in this quick example, I'm just using the timer and telling it to run my flow once an hour. I can pick Slack as my action, and I get 6 different action types that I can trigger to occur. Probably the most common one that any of us would use, I would think, would be posting a message. We've been using that a little bit in a couple of our flows. When someone goes to when someone signs up for our newsletter with MailChimp, it triggers a Slack message into one of our Slack channels. And we've also got another one in a CRM app we use. When you click a button to add a person to MailChimp, that also quick posts an announcement message in a Slack channel. So being able to post a Slack message into Slack from FileMaker is pretty darn easy. You can do a quick message, and that's just that's, I think, what we would all want 95% of the time. It's just a quick message. The advanced message lets you do a little bit more complicated message with attachments. I've got a quick example over here. These 2 messages in Slack hourly test, those are messages posted through the quick message action. And then the last one here is done through the advanced message. So if you want to do a more complex message into Slack, the advanced one lets you do that. It's a little bit more complicated to work with because if you define the message easily enough, but all of the other stuff is defined in JSON. Connect gives you this JSON block automatically, just part of the action when you add it. Easy enough to edit this stuff. I don't know what else Slack supports in this JSON package. It may be that you could add a whole bunch of more complicated stuff here. I didn't look into what Slack accepts there. Easy enough to do this, but if you wanted to extend it further, you'd have to go research what Slack accepts in that JSON package. The other actions that Slack can perform for you, create channel. I think the rest of these actions are perhaps a little bit less immediately obvious what the uses might be for them, but I can imagine from within FileMaker, I might want to create a channel. If I had a project management app, I might want to create a new channel when a new project was added to keep information about that project segregated. Or a new customer. Maybe if I work with a small enough number of customers and I wanted to have a separate channel for each customer, I could create that automatically through this action. And with the 2 invite actions, some ability to manage which users are able to access a channel, or which users belong to a group. This last action, find user by ID, we talked about it a little bit and didn't come up with an immediately obvious use case for that action. So it might be an interesting question for Claris or anybody that's used the Slack connector more than we have, what the exact use case is for that last action. But
my guess, John, is that that's for private messages. Maybe if you were to find a single user and then send them only a message, maybe.
Maybe, but the parameter is the user's Slack ID, so you'd have to know the users, and it's a see there it's an odd,
okay.
it's not a user-friendly kind of thing. I'm not even sure where you find a user's Slack ID. I'm sure it's not that hard to find. But, anyway, for simple posting of messages, it's Slack's got to be one of the easier connectors to integrate with. You just pick put in your message and pick the Slack channel that you want to post it to. You do have to add Claris Connect to the channel in Slack. So if I look at our announcements channel over here and I look at the members of the channel, I do have Claris Connect added as one of the integrations or apps that's allowed to post to this channel. When I was playing around with it, when we were working with MailChimp and today, because it's been a while since I did the MailChimp stuff, my Connect flow's got a couple of error messages in here because I had forgotten to add Connect to my channel, and so Slack wasn't allowing me to post my messages there. That was easily corrected. So I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm going to finish things off by disabling this so we don't keep getting Slack test into our announcements channel every hour. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, happy to entertain them.
Looks like if you view the an individual's profile and then hit the more, you can see the member ID for that individual. That looks like where it exists in Slack, by the way.
Gotcha.
Did you say that
before? But
yeah. Did you say that the did Slack have actions where it would send out webhook?
Yeah, you can. They have. I don't know. It seems like 100 or more events that you can configure to send Connect a JSON package whenever they occur. I didn't try to do anything with them, but there's judging from the number of events, it looks like practically anything you can do in Slack can be configured to send a hook out.
Well, that would be really helpful for automating some tasks from the channel, right?
Definitely.
Like just like launching a Zoom meeting, /Zoom, or you could do /something, I'm guessing.
Yeah, especially if you're doing some kind of CRM thing where you wanted your customers to be able to send a Slack message, but you wanted to track it and follow through with what they were, make sure somebody followed through with it, and perhaps, I don't know, track numbers of Slack messages by client or something like that. That would be a good way to do it.
This is difficult sometimes because we're having to think about things that we've said no to for a long time. We've just programmed our own brains that no, I can't do that. But well, maybe now you can. It goes back to the old question of, if you were to start your business today, how would you want to do it? What's like in the CRM question, You know, I never thought about having a Slack channel for my customers, you know, something like that, you know.
Yeah, I think that's, I think it's a good observation that Connect, where Connect does what you want it to do, and hopefully that will be growing. But you know, where Connect does what you want it to do, it isn't extremely easy to do. To create a Slack integration with FileMaker is super easy, and you know, it'll be really, you know, obviously something I really hope is that Claris continually improves on the connectors that exist and adds more connectors, so that the number of integrations we can do really easily keeps growing. That would be, and I agree with you, it takes a slightly different mindset to think, oh, this API integration, it's not going to take 15 hours, it's going to take 15 minutes.
Right.
That definitely is a little bit of a change of thinking.